Mr. President, to talk today about the historic workforce needs we have in this country. And if we do the right things to respond to it, the historic opportunity we have to bring people out of the shadows and into work by providing them the skills they need to be able to access the jobs that are out there. Pro-growth federal policies, including the tax reform we passed here, the tax cuts, also regulatory relief, also some things we've done with regard to opening up more energy resources, all of that's helping to boost job creation, increase wages, and grow our economy. The most recent data from the Commerce Department shows the economy grew by a healthy 2.6% in the first half of this year, as an example, and official unemployment is now down to 3.5%. That's the lowest it's been in 50 years. So the economy is moving. And to me, what's most exciting is we're seeing solid wage growth for the first time in years. So non-supervisory employees, including blue-collar workers, have seen, just over the past couple of years, about a 6% increase in their wages. That's about $1.30 per hour. Think about that. After a decade, really in my home state, a decade and a half of flat wages, wages that didn't keep up with inflation, we now see real wage growth. Now, over 2 years, 6%, $1.30 an hour, that means something to the people I represent. But it also is compounded year after year if we can continue this. So this is all great news for the people I represent. They've been frustrated. You know, they play hard, they work hard, they play by the rules, they do the right thing, and then they can't get ahead. Now they're starting to get ahead, and that's good. I hear from small business owners in Ohio, they've been able to do a lot with the tax cuts and tax reform by creating new jobs and new investments. Everyone has. I've met with literally dozens of small businesses around our state, had roundtable discussions, asked them specifically what happened with regard to the tax relief, where's it going, and it's going toward better equipment, better technology, therefore more productivity per worker. It's going to higher wages. It's going to better benefits for workers. So for the past 18 months, we have now seen more job openings in America than there are people looking for work. Think about that. For the past 18 months, consistently every month, we've had more job openings out there than there are people looking for work. No time in this century has that happened. So this is precedent setting, and it's a good thing, and it's all good news, but it's not the whole story. Part of the story is that we're still seeing a lot of individuals who are missing the benefits of this economic expansion. Why? Because, in part, they don't have the skills that are needed to take advantage of this economic growth. So you've got more jobs out there than you have people looking, and yet you've got this skills gap which keeps us from being able to have the right people in the right place for the right jobs. I'm hearing from a lot of employers, they say, we can't continue to grow if we don't find these workers. And some companies even saying we're going to have to leave Ohio or leave the United States if we don't have the workforce, because workforce, like other inputs, is very important to be able to have a competitive economy. So we've got to solve this problem. In Ohio and elsewhere, there are now thousands of job openings for positions like welders and machinists in factories, medical technicians in hospitals, computer programmers and coders in almost every sector of our economy. If you go on ohiomeansjobs.com this morning, ohiomeansjobs.com, you'll see some of these jobs advertised, about 150,000 jobs out there. And these jobs that you'll see are what economists call middle skill jobs. They don't require a college degree, but they do require some training and expertise after high school. What we've got to do is to close that skills gap by providing more of this training and education for these workers. The supply of skilled workers in this category, students pursuing post-high school certificates, falls way short of the demand that's out there, and it's holding back our economy from fulfilling its potential. In the most recent skills gap study from 2018, Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute highlighted this widening problem. As of August, there are roughly 484,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs across America. But the study found that the skills gap may leave an estimated 2.4 million manufacturing jobs unfilled between 2018 and 10 years from now, 2028, with a potential negative economic impact of $2.5 trillion. So the skills gap is already there, but unfortunately, it's widening. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to have a lot more unfilled manufacturing jobs, good pay. The best-known early training for these kinds of jobs is called Career and Technical Education, or CTE. Some of you might remember it as being called vocational education. I will say today's vocational education is not yesterday's. It's high technology, it's great equipment, it's providing the level of skills that people need to actually, young people need to actually understand what's out there in the real world and to get a job. This is a very important part of what we're doing as a country, and I see it all over Ohio. Recently, I toured the Vantage Career Center in Van Wert, Ohio. Juniors and seniors in high school from more than a dozen school districts can study things like carpentry, like automotive technology, like welding, like criminal justice. A few weeks ago, I was able to speak to over 1,000 impressive CTE students here in Washington, D.C., advocating for the program. In fact, they talked to a lot of the representatives here in the United States Senate. The group is called Skills USA, and their rally every year is really inspiring. These young people are eager to get this training. They want to get the training to be able to get the jobs that are out there. But we need to get more young people engaged in that, more parents signing off on that, more high school counselors signing off on that. I co-founded and co-chair what's called the CTE caucus here in the Congress, and it's focused on holding up, uplifting career and technical education. We've gone from 2 senators to now 29 senators in our CTE caucus. Our goal is to increase the awareness of CTE programs generally, making sure people know this is a good education option for them, to get more students interested in career training, and to provide the resources and the opportunities to connect these young people to skilled jobs with good pay and benefits. And we've passed some good legislation to do that. Last year, the President signed into law my Educating Tomorrow's Workforce Act. That bill and the Perkins grants to states that are currently providing $1.3 billion in funding every year for ambitious federally funded high schools help to encourage high quality, so be sure that the CTE programs are high performing. But career and technical education goes well beyond these great high school programs. Certificate granting workforce training programs post-high school are another key way to close that skills gap. In fact, it's probably the most important way because you can get an industry-recognized certificate that can lead directly to a job. Think of the many workforce training programs being offered at your local community college or at your local technical or trade school. But for these post-high school training opportunities, we've got a problem and we've got a solution. The problem is they're expensive and a lot of young people can't afford them. The opportunity is to allow Pell Grants to be used for these kind of training programs. Currently, we use Pell Grants to help expand access to college-level education here in America. And this is for families who are low-income families. Their kids can go to college on a Pell Grant. Unfortunately, they can't use that Pell Grant to get this short-term training program that will actually land them a job, where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, a short-term 15-week program in welding, for instance, so they can get a good-paying job at the end of it with no debt. The Bipartisan Jobs Act, which I co-sponsored with Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia, will allow us to do just that. It will allow us to do the same thing we do with college with these shorter-term training programs that gives you a high-quality, industry-recognized credential. Under current law, low-income students are eligible for federal Pell Grants if they attend college for an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, but not if they choose to enroll in an accredited skills training program for under 15 weeks. I tell you, in this economy, in this day and age, that doesn't make sense at all. I'm supportive of Pell Grants for college. You should know that more than half the young people who take out a Pell Grant for college don't end up getting the college degree or a certificate or anything that helps them to get that job. Whereas in these short-term training programs, it's highly likely, based on the experience we've looked at, that they will get that certificate and they will get that job. The Jobs Act is needed right now to meet the needs out there. These kind of workforce training programs provide students with the academic and technical skills, knowledge, and training necessary to succeed in their future careers. They encompass the kind of high-quality, rigorous job training programs that are easily transferable to those jobs that are in demand right now. Whether it's learning how to conduct HVAC installation, how to operate a factory machine, which includes, by the way, being able to program a computer that helps run that machine, or how to program computers generally, how to be a coder, how to ensure that you have these skills to be able to be in one of our great healthcare tech jobs that are open right now. These programs teach students the practical, transferable skills that keeps our economy moving. I hear about this every time I'm home in Ohio. During the recent work period that just wrapped up, I held 2 separate roundtables, one at Brainerd Industries in Dayton, Ohio, and one at Talon Products in Cleveland, Ohio, talking about this issue with business owners, with administrators from our community colleges, with students themselves, with workers who are on the job. And guess what? All of these groups agree that the Jobs Act is a great idea whose time has come. They all agreed that the skills training programs create a path to good-paying jobs, and they want the help. What's more, we know that a lot of business owners will help these employees once they get that job to be able to go back to school if they want to, maybe to get a 2-year or a 4-year degree, maybe even get a master's degree, say in engineering, to take their education to the next level. Because you do a short-term training program and get a job doesn't mean you're not going to go back to college. That might be appropriate for some companies and for many individuals. In fact, a representative from Clark State Community College, Crystal Jones, who was in attendance in Dayton, Ohio, said that she specifically believed that a lack of Pell Grant assistance to young people looking to get training certificates is a significant barrier. She said it makes it more difficult in their efforts to ensure employers get the skilled workers they need. She said the Jobs Act will help. Crystal's right. The Jobs Act has been endorsed by the National Skills Coalition, the Association for Career and Technical Education, the Business Roundtable, and so many other groups. We're told it's the #1 priority of the Association of Community Colleges and Trustees and of the American Association of Community Colleges. A lot of us here in this chamber support our community colleges. They do an awesome job. Well, this is their top priority, so we should listen to them. I'm also pleased that the Jobs Act was included in President Trump's FY 2020 budget proposal. I thank the President for that, and I thank the administration for supporting it, as I thank so many other outside stakeholders who are promoting this idea. Let's allow Pell to be used for short-term training programs that we need. The reason this Jobs Act has such strong support is because it's the best proposal out there right now to help fill this skills gap that we have. It will cover programs that at a minimum require 150 hours and 8 weeks to complete. Alternative proposals are out there, but they severely limit the programs by requiring many more hours. 320 hours as an example in one program. Our community colleges in Ohio tell me that none of their short-term training programs, none of them would qualify for that number of hours. Programs like welding, precision machining, CDL programs for truck drivers, electrical trades, they all need the Jobs Act, and they need it now. As we work to reauthorize the Higher Education Act this year, passing the Jobs Act is the top priority for Senator Kaine and myself. It's also supported by Chairman Alexander and Ranking Member Murray of the Help Committee, and we strongly appreciate their support. I hope colleagues on both sides of the aisle will join us to get this legislation enacted. It just makes too much sense not to do it. If we make career and technical education a priority, and if we enact the Jobs Act, as I've discussed today, we're going to address the #1 issue we're now hearing from employers all around the country. And we're going to help so many thousands of Americans have a better opportunity going forward. We're going to help our economy at a time when we need to have this workforce there in order to have the economy continue to grow. There's momentum in Ohio today with businesses expanding and seeking skilled workers, but the skills gap is an impediment. We need to seize this opportunity, keep our economy moving in the right direction, and help Ohioans develop the skills to grow in the career of their choice and to fulfill their potential in life.